we are about to break some hearts. This drought is really starting to affect us. I don't think we're gonna have enough feed for these sheep. I have a question that might be controversial. We haven't seen this in a long time. I don't know what we're gonna do here. Good morning. It is Friday. Today is the day that everything got dumped on. Starting here, and it's a beautiful morning. I'm just waiting for, I think it's Trev. He's coming from Brussels, where I do a lot of business there, actually. The fence is in pretty decent shape, but it's pretty saggy from all the snow. And I got a couple posts behind the bale storage because we did have boards on the very back side, but over the years they got pushed off with bales falling. And then a couple years ago, a couple bales fell and actually broke off a couple posts behind there. So really he just has to put in 2 new posts, and then we actually moved the hot wire for the cows. We actually moved the hot wire up. It was at the bottom because originally this was for, I had a very small flock when I first started, and I wanted to put my lambs out here. Well, that was not a wise choice because I didn't know anything about parasites. I know now. Yeah, so we used it for the cows, and the cows then showed me that I needed a hot wire near the top because once the grass got a little bit longer on the other side of the fence, my big old girl Omega basically just started pushing out staples in the fence because she wanted the grass on the other side of the fence. And then you guys all know this barn. We did have this retrofitted for our beef cows, but they haven't been in here for a while. Are we waiting for Belinda? So what I'm thinking, we will give the ladies this back area. This is what we did yesterday. We got to get rid of the bees in there. So yeah, so they can have access to the pasture, access to this area. And then, yeah, this was cleaned out a couple years ago. So this needs all bedded up nice. This is the destruction that he's gonna have to figure out what to do here. And of course, I couldn't get in here with the lawnmower to get the thistles down. So I don't know what we're gonna do here. But basically, there's our corner post there. And this one came out from these guys tipping back. Well, this day did not disappoint us. It was as busy as I predicted. I'm just catching up with you guys now. The ewes are sheared. So here are all the ladies that are carrying my September babies. And they're all good to go, sheared. And then here's the ewe lambs. It's got the December ewe lambs here, and it also has some September ewe lambs from last year. So they will maybe get put in the next breeding group. The September ones for sure. December, haven't decided yet. I may, but it's pretty early. The other ones in here are my retirees. Gorgeous Ruby. We have Marge. Hello, Marge. Marge even let me pet her today. Yeah, you did. Don't you play all hard to get now. We have the one and only Billy's mom. Beautiful. And of course, the woman of the hour. Big Mama. What are you saying? You're still as gorgeous as ever. You know it. You look beautiful. Yes, you do. I know, it's supper time. The thing with shearing day is I can't feed them till after they're done sheared for the day. So they were so loud. I couldn't even barely run the camera today just because these ewe lambs were just, you would think I never fed them. But yeah, very quiet now. So those retirees also have their new home ready to get moved into when I can get my life organized. There's a few things I still have to do over there. I have to get some gates set up for inside the barn. I also have to wash out their water bowl or their water trough. I'm just going to use a trough and a float for now and then figure out winter when winter comes, which I'm going to regret saying that. I'm just across the road looking at our fence and everything looks amazing. He put a new little hot wire at the bottom, new insulators that actually stick out a little further, so it's going to miss the weeds hopefully. Oh, this looks good, 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 good. This is all fixed. I don't know if that's a new post. That's definitely a new post. Oh, wow. So nice, so nice. Good morning. It is Saturday. We are about to break some hearts. The boys have had their last day of fun for another 3 months. So we're gonna pull them out, put them back in their pen. I am gonna keep those new rams that we bought here just before this breeding group. I'm still gonna keep them separate. They're quite a bit smaller, they're younger. So they're gonna stay in the pen that they're in, but I have to pull the ewes out. And of course they're sniffing tail right now. Why? Anyway, so they are coming out a couple days later than what I had originally planned on my calendar. I usually keep them in for 21 days when I synchronize them. But we had Charlie coming, so I didn't want to do it then, and then yesterday is when he actually came, so we actually just didn't have time to do it yesterday. So today is the day that the fun is done, I guess. Chris has done a whole bunch of work while I had to use the facilities, so I'm going to do that more often. Can you guys see? I need a drone out here. Okay. Girls are going left. Boys are going straight. Okay. That went surprisingly good for a Saturday morning. Poor Carissa was out till 1 last night at a campfire, so she was, she did really good considering. I don't think I'd be that good. So now that we've got everybody in the pens that they're supposed to be in, I do have to fix my feed sheet on Excel, and she's about to start feeding here, so I got to get on that right now. Ooh, this weekend it's turned out to be kind of busy. It's our long weekend. We have our manure guys here. We started hiring it out as of last year. We sold them our manure spreader, these guys outside of Seaforth here, and they do such an amazing job. They come in as a team, like a fleet, and our manure is done in like under a week, whereas it would take Mark the month of August to get manure out everywhere, because we have the sheep manure, and we also spread our in-laws. They have poultry barns. So we get a lot of their manure, we get all their manure, which is really good for our fertilizer bill, which there's been a lot of talk about fertilizer lately. So I'll maybe sit down with Mark. You guys seem to like it when I have some pretty good in-depth business discussions with him. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that, talk about this new fertilizer bill that got talked about or proposed, or is it actually a bill? I don't even know. Yeah, let me know if you want me to talk about that with Mark. So we get a lot of manure that has to go out. We wait until our weed is off. So we just got our last field baled yesterday. Joel came and did that. We also are going to be short feed this year. We're looking at our second cut of this new seeding, and we may just sit on it till next year because it's not looking too great. So in saying that, we got some oats yesterday. We are going to get this manure spread. We're going to work it in, which we always do, and instead of planting cover crop, which is what we're going to do everywhere else, we're going to put down some oats in and around a field just next door here, and we're going to take that off in the fall for our third bag of feed, because our third cut's going to be basically nothing. This drought is really starting to affect us. So yeah, Mark's out doing fungicide on corn the last few days, and he hasn't been too excited to go out there. The corn is, some places it looks okay, and other places it just is really disappointing. So I feel really bad for him right now.
Almost have this one done.
Look at that. Dust.
That's called money. It's hard. That poultry manure is so dry.
Morning, guys. It is Sunday and we are working again. It is our long weekend. We'd like to maybe skip away for a couple days this week and just go to the lake, maybe overnight. But there's quite a bit of work that just got kind of added to the list, and there is a little sneaky chance of rain this week off and on, and if that's the case, we'd really like to get these oats planted behind the wheat that we just took off. So we're waiting for the guys to finish spreading manure there. They've been rocking it. They got here yesterday and they'll be done today, so it's amazing. We like to do most jobs around the farm ourselves just because of well, it's expensive to get custom, but the one, like, besides hay, the other custom thing that we have noticed a huge change in our life and freeing up our time is spreading manure. They got done in 2 days, what would take Mark probably 3 weeks, and it's still wear and tear on our equipment. Our manure spreader, Adrian, who runs the show, is just so meticulous and so organized, and Mark can text them and drop pins to each field and rates, and we know that he will put on the right rate, right time, right spot in all the fields, and that's exactly how Mark spreads manure. So especially in this day and age with fertilizer, you know, policies and honestly just fertilizer prices, we can't afford not to have this stuff being put on right. So we've always had that philosophy, to be honest. So they're working at that. Mark has just run down the field, down to the first field that they did. He's actually starting to work the manure in. So what we usually do is we spread manure, we work it in with our light joker tillage, and then that field and all the other fields are going to get a cover crop. And we'll get into that as we do it. I'll take you guys along. So the priorities have changed in the last 24 hours just because there's a 90% chance of significant rain tomorrow. And if we got oats in before that rain, that would be kind of a life-saving rain for that. And because, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have enough feed for these sheep. But while he's doing that, I'm gonna run to the barn, I'm gonna run to the pasture over here and get some more stuff ready so we can get those ewes moved over this week, hopefully. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, it stinks. Ew. Gross. It is lunchtime, and poor Mark, we went to friends last night, and I think he partook in a few bevies, so I thought I would get him a water and an oat bar, and yes, that is his lunch because I have no food. I desperately need to go to the grocery store, and I desperately hate going to the grocery store. So we will start with this. If he is famished, I will come back and make him something a little more substantial. I screwed up. I forgot this field that we're in now. This, is it 80 acres?
88.
80 acre chunk is going to be our canola field for next year. So we're going to plant that. Will we be planting that before the cover crop?
No. We'll probably plant the cover crop in a couple weeks.
And then canola maybe early September?
Probably like, my goal is like the 9th or 10th of September.
Okay, so that's the plan for this. So it's winter canola, so we plant it in the fall, just like our winter wheat, and then it grows it is dormant in the winter?
It grows so much and then it goes dormant in the winter time.
And then it'll be one of those crops, kind of like our winter barley, that's off a little bit earlier, so earlier than wheat, and hopefully after hay, one of the cuts. So anyway, this is canola, and then the other 1, 2, 3 fields will be cover crop, and then the last 30 acres is going to be oats for sheep feed. So manure was spread here yesterday. You're working it in today. Why do we just kind of do a light tillage for those that are new to the channel?
Actually, under the Nutrient Management Act in Ontario, if you don't have a growing crop, you're actually required to incorporate the manure. So once we spread this, we will be growing a crop, but we don't have a crop here. So we like to kind of work it in because we have to, but it also helps minimize stratification where we just get a concentrated layer on the top of the surface. By working in a little bit like this, we can kind of increase the zone in which the fertilizer's in the soil, so the roots have more access to it. So it's kind of a way to get away from a stratification layer on top of the soil as well.
Cool. I have a question that might be controversial. I don't know if it's controversial. What do no-till guys do if they want to spread manure? If you have to incorporate manure, but you're no-till?
I think if you're a no-till farmer, then to be the letter of the law for Ontario, you would have to spread it on a growing crop, so like alfalfa,
right,
or plant the cover crop first,
And then spread.
and then spread like a month after or 3 weeks after. I forget how much growth you have to have, like a standing crop. I'm pretty sure residue doesn't count because I'm like.
Because there's residue here, but it's
dead. The big thing they want to make sure is that when there's a heavy rainfall event, it doesn't just wash off the surface of the soil and into water courses.
Right.
So I think that's why, you know, standing crop or living crop are some of the issues why we can't spread in the wintertime because the ground's frozen, stuff like that. So I think...
Well, it kind of makes sense, actually.
The goal of it all is just to make sure that the water courses stay free of pollutants from heavy rainfall events. That's why we try to do some of this stuff. So no-till, guys, I think if you had a really... You could argue like this is pretty good residue.
Right. You
might not have to work it in.
Especially if they spread the straw too, right? Because that would even be more than what we have. But okay, that was my question. I don't know if anyone would ask that, but that's why you're paid the big bucks. Finally got rid of Mark. He ran back to get the air seeder and get it ready with oats, but can you see how dry it is out here? It is, you can't see behind that at all. We're dealing with really dry manure as well, so it's dry manure and just dry dirt, but unbelievable. Like, we haven't seen this in a long time. This is where I first started kind of my career here after I had Jack. We built this chicken barn. I say my father-in-law and mother-in-law built this one broiler breeder farm right here. We started building in 2000. I had Jack in November of that year, and the birds went in early 2001, like 6 weeks after I had Jack. So I was running that barn then, and then 6 years later we built a second barn to twin it. And then it's hatching eggs, so those middle rooms there is where we collected eggs. So that is my career before sheep farming. You know, working this field is a little surreal. Every year it gets to me. I just remember working in these barns, and I wasn't in a great headspace when I had little kids. I think I had postpartum, definitely had insomnia, all the things. And I remember I would stand by the fans. I could see outside the fans, and our farm is right there. So I looked west to our home farm, and behind those bins, I could see a barn. I had no idea what was in the barn, but all I knew is it wasn't chickens. So it is a bit surreal that I'm in this field, working ground to plant emergency feed for the animals that actually got put into that barn, which was never in my mind's eye, which is sheep. Mark just got here nicely. He's planting. I don't know if you can see back there. He just got nicely here. It takes a long time to set up between crops. A little bit of setting changes, calibrating, filling it up, and then getting all your technology wired up, because it's been kind of unhooked from the tractor, so you have to hook everything back up. So he's just nicely, I think, got the headlands done. He's going up and down. I'm getting closer to the tree line here, but I've been at this for quite a few hours now. And I'm getting hungry. So hopefully when this is all done, he'll take me to somewhere fancy like McDonald's.